NOE Extreme Media UJ. Subscribe for all updates.
Really, Mr. Chairman, how did you accept, with the limited number of days remaining, as Odur alluded to, did you take the opportunity to tackle this very critical law when you have only 15 days to go? We get worried that who is it that we are making this? Is it for the servant of Ugandans or to protect individuals who have three categories? They have three characteristics. Leaders in Africa have three characteristics. Number one, they fear people they lead. This law shows fear. Number two,
you are watching Extreme Media UG. Subscribe for all the updates.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for inviting us to come and present our memorandum, which we had earlier sent to you. In this memorandum, as you see, ours is preserve freedom of worship. I do know many people have presented to ours, but we have some specific things we think, if not properly addressed to, may interfere with our worship. And as a community which has been disadvantaged to some sort.
Do you have a copy of this? I have one. You don't have?
I have given you several of them.
You gave us several?
Several, yes.
Chair, also the memorandum
whoever is interested, I can give more.
You have some?
But folks should listen attentively. He supports Jews.
And I
listen to the Muslim League.
I support human rights. And
I support human rights.
Also the memorandum from the diaspora.
Okay, let's just be attentive.
Actually, I had imagined that since this memorandum was forwarded earlier,
more copies are coming in.
It had been photocopied. But at least I know I have provided about 10 of them.
We will have more copies shortly.
Okay, thank you so much.
Begin with the folks.
Memorandum of?
From the people of the diaspora.
The one of NUP?
Yes, has not been shared.
Do we have a copy?
Yes, they shared. They said that they had shared already in advance.
Okay, run more copies and have the members get copies.
They had two presentations, the one for the
Okay, let's proceed.
Now, I was saying before the interjection that we as a community, we have certain things specific to us which we think the law being proposed is very, very unfair in many sections. And therefore, as leaders in the community, we thought that we should be here by the order of the hadith of the Prophet, which says, Man ra'a minkum al-munkara fayughayyiru biyadihi fa in lam yastati'u fa bil-lisan fa in lam yastati'u fa bil-qalbi. According to that tradition of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is agreed upon by all the 6 books of hadith,
Procedure, Chair.
He says, whoever...
What's the procedure matter?
I am not intervening in his submission. I want to understand what he has said so that I...
Why don't you be patient, Honorable?
If you are
No, you said, gentlemen, you said that according to that which is agreed upon. My only concern is I don't want you to proceed before I understand, right? There is no ill will whatsoever. I just want, because you have spoken a language I am not conversant with, I want to capture you properly,
okay, so
that I may respond appropriately.
Imam, you'll interpret whatever.
Thank you.
I was going to that one exactly. I was going to interpret that, and I would also beg Mr. Chair that in certain sections where I have to invoke some verses of the Quran, I want to say them as they are, and then I will interpret. Let everybody feel comfortable. I am the Imam. So, the Prophet Whoever amongst you sees anything wrong, he should change it by force if he can. If he cannot, he should speak against it as you have come here. If he cannot, he should hate it in his heart, but that is a weakness of faith. That is what it means, Honorable Sir.
Thank you very much.
Introduction. We acknowledge the government's duty to safeguard Uganda's sovereignty and promote national integrity. We are equally aware of the risks associated with foreign interference and the potential for external interests to be prioritized over the common good. However, the authority to legislate carries a fundamental obligation to ensure that all proposals conform to the Constitution of Uganda and international human rights standards. Laws must be precise and transparent to prevent arbitrary enforcement. Upon reviewing the Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026, we find that its current restrictive and punitive framework poses a direct threat to the exercise of the Islamic faith. If enacted, the bill's vague provisions will obstruct the fulfillment of the 5 pillars of Islam, specifically Salah, Zakah, Sawm, and Hajj. Salah means prayer, Zakah means almsgiving, Sawm means fasting the month of Ramadan, and Hajj means the pilgrimage to the holy place, alongside the sunnah practice of sadaqah. And also it may jeopardize those people who give sadaqah, which is charity. By imposing these restrictions, the bill violates Article 29 of the Ugandan Constitution, which guarantees the freedom of religion and worship. We call upon the legislature to revise these measures to ensure they do not infringe upon the fundamental rights of the Muslim community in Uganda and outside. Summary of the concerns, of the key concerns. Number 1, constitutional violation, Article 29, 1C. The bill directly infringes upon the constitutionally guaranteed right to freedom of worship. 2, obstruction of the Islamic pillars. The proposed legislation creates security-led red tape that hinders the practice of Salah, Zakah, Hajj, and Ramadan. 3, unfair labeling of foreigner agents. The bill unfairly categorizes religious leaders, charitable institutions, recipients, beneficiaries as foreigner agents, subjecting them to an unnecessary, tedious process of registration. Number 4, unrealistic financial constraints. The limit of 20,000 currency points, Uganda shillings approximately 400 million, funding per year without approval from the minister is unrealistic, and a penalty of 4 billion attached to it. This will affect progress of Muslim projects in the country, including the maintenance of the National Mosque itself. As you are aware, this parliament, some few months back, you passed some assistance to this place. 5, criminalization of religious guidance by labeling the declaration of goods or services economic sabotage. The bill risks criminalizing religious leaders for providing essential moral and dietary guidance to the faithful. Those 5 areas. Number 1. So we got 3. The impact of the bill on Muslim faith. Salah or prayer and the maintenance of mosques. Salah is the second pillar of Islam, practiced 5 times a day in congregation. Islamic tradition teaches that a person is rewarded for every step taken walking to a mosque for prayers, and that Allah builds a house in paradise for a person who builds a mosque. Mosques are Allah's houses, where faith is strengthened, morals inculcated in our lives, souls are refined, and citizens encouraged to desist from social evil such as corruption, theft of public resources, and providing unjust leadership. The role of foreigner support. It is a matter of public record that the Muslim community in Uganda relies heavily on foreigner donors to construct mosques and provide water sources for ablution, which all benefit the wider community. Our national mosque at Wadi Kampala stands as a premier testament to this global solidarity. Its construction and ongoing maintenance have been sustained by foreigner funding rather than local contributions. In contrast, the only notable local support recorded is the 2.5 billion provided to the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council in 2023 for constitutional reviews and elections, and the allocation of 14 billion to settle one Chabwazi debt as a result of court battles that had led to the attachment and auctioning of the National Mosque. Legislative constraints and concerns. The proposed bill threatens this religious foundation through several restrictive and measures. Number one, financial. Clause 22. The bill imposes a strict annual cap of 400 million on a foreigner funding without written ministerial approval. This limit is insufficient for the construction of a modern mosque and the maintenance of a large-scale institution like a national mosque. Apart from that, when we look at this amount of money they are talking about, one of these organizations listed here, I don't know whether we have an MP from Kayunga here. We are constructing a fully-fledged ward for sickle cells people because they are being treated on a street in that hospital. And its cost is over 400 million, including furnishing it, putting everything there in. So when you restrict us to only 400 million in a year, it means we shall do one project or we shall fail to do that project even when it's of a national interest. Kayunga Hospital, I don't think, is for the Muslim community. Number two of that example, we do, some of you in your own constituencies, we have provided water, power motorized water, solar water. I don't know whether we have an MP from Kajara here. In my former school called Chitunga High School, where I went, ever since I was there in the 70s, up to recently, their problem was water. One of the organizations represented here, through foreigner funding, we constructed a water well which provides 6,000 liters of water per hour, over 50 million. So that is why we think, for us as Muslims, and that is charity anyway. So the moment you restrict us from doing charity, you are impinging on our faith. So that is number two. Stigmatization and red tape clause 15 and 16.
Imam,
Yes.
information to you. In the constituency of the chairman here,
We have a school.
the chairman here, in his constituency, you constructed a school.
Yes, even in Kamudi, the one
In
from
Namukonge, you constructed a school through the charitable chairman here.
so
And Namukonge is where the grandmother of Honorable Katundu comes from. These all are beneficiaries here.
that's why Katundu restricted himself, because he knows. Now, we move on. I can give many examples, but because of time, let me stop on those ones. Because I'm very certain that we have been to the whole of this country, and recently I have been in Karamoja, and we are going to provide a school, a same school actually in Karamoja, because I was astonished. A group of about 30 school-going children when I met them in their village, in Kangole, and I greeted them simply, how are you? None of them replied. When I asked why, they said, we don't know school. And the school is 10 kilometers from here, we can't go to school. So we offered to put the structure for the school, and soon I will be to Karamoja, maybe next week, to converse on this work. Okay. Let me speak in the microphone. Stigmatization and red tape. By requiring any entity or party to register under the department, the bill risks unfairly labeling mosques leaders and religious institutions as agents of foreign powers. And sometimes, when you leave it plainly, I have been following ever since we started this committee work. I listened to the Attorney General, and he said, you know, the Attorney General, who is a lawyer, I am not a lawyer, but I got opportunity also to teach at the School of Law, despite that I'm not a lawyer, for 3 consecutive years, and the biggest school of law in this country. So he said, as if he's presuming that somebody is going to commit a what? And he says, if you see you can remove it. Then I realized how many laws, for example, you know, Public Order Management Act. I want to take a general qaida. Sure. Mr. Chairman, allow me to take a general qaida, which you call a general rule. Because when I say qaida, people may think I'm talking about Al-Qaeda. But a general rule regarding the question of haram or halal. According to the teachings of Islam, haram is haram, kalilahu aw kathira. That anything, when it is haram, whether it is small or big, small quantities or huge, it is haram. That is the general rule. Therefore, if I see anything that is haram in an issue of national importance like this, disguised as the protection of my sovereignty, I have to alert others. Why?
Oh, incidentally, we don't applause like that in Parliament.
Please,
we
yes.
foot stamp.
Okay.
Why? Foot stamp.
Why?
Imam
And on a general issue, whether it is religious or social, as I have said, we do reject it in its entirety. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, it's verse, I think, 111, I think 11, kuntum khayru ummat. Quran tells us that we are the best community. Chapter 3 verse 110 says, kuntum khayru ummati ukhrijat linnas ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. You are the best community brought up for mankind. Why? You instruct people to do good and restrict them from doing wrong, and you believe in the Almighty. We are here to advise and say that any form of oppression to even your enemy, Islam hates it. In one tradition of the Prophet, he says, and this one is the Hadith al-Qudus, words are for Allah, but the one who has said, the message is from Allah, the Prophet is not saying it. The Prophet Allah says that I, your creator, I need oppression on myself and made it haram to all. وَلَا تَظَلَّمُوا, do not to others. This bill, according to me, is intended to oppress people in many ways, and therefore I am clear on that. Then, therefore, I am saying, Mr. Chairman, when you say if it is excluded, even when you exclude this and you leave the other, I was being asked, and Imam, you don't want, you don't want to be, if you look at in my introduction, paragraph 2. After acknowledging, I first acknowledged that it is okay. But I said, however, the authority to legislate carries a fundamental obligation to ensure that all proposals conform to the Constitution of Uganda and international human rights standards. Laws, the protections of the bill, we find that it is in its current restrictive and punitive framework poses a direct threat. If they are going to remove these direct threats to human beings, we have no problem with it. Thank you so much
for your indulgence. I wanted to take advantage of the presence of the Imam, whom I thank so much for this presentation. Since we started receiving stakeholders, we have had very good legal arguments, political arguments, economic arguments, cultural arguments. And now I would like to ask and benefit from the philosophical or doctrinal arguments around the concept of sovereignty. Because in my understanding, or my thinking, it appears that whoever is behind this bill may not be having a clear understanding of the concept of sovereignty. And therefore, sovereignty has been invoked to probably solve something else. And I want you, if it is possible, to address us on that. What are those philosophical and doctrinal, even you could say theoretical, underpinnings around the concept of sovereignty? If we understand, me and the members of the committee, then I think it will be very helpful on how we proceed.
One verse of the Quran is enough to answer him, and it comes in a form of a question. أَلَيْثَ الْأَرْضُ اللَّهِ وَاسِعَةٌ فَتُهَاجِرُ فِيهَا. So that verse restricts what you call sovereignty by telling us that Allah will ask us, when you were suffering and you did, why didn't you move? Wasn't the earth of the creation of Allah on earth so wide so that you go where you will feel comfortable? Therefore, to us, these artificial borders people talk about, hence calling people foreigners, do work against the principle with which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his messengers from Adam to Jesus to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that one to me is enough, because we do not have restrictions of boundaries. And in one of the traditions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that humanity is like one body. If one toy below here feels is hurt, the whole body gets what? Fever. And it is with that background, sir, Honorable Du, that I say that that verse is enough to explain. Inshallah, in your free time you can engage me. I will add many more other things that, because of the interest of time and we have many people, allow me to. The last question that somebody asked me to ask, and I thought about it. This parliament, as we speak today, is left with 15 days. Really, Mr. Chairman, how did you accept, with the limited number of days remaining, as Odur alluded to, did you take the opportunity to tackle this very critical law when you have only 15 days to go? And even, you see, presented once, the two other presentations done in the same day, the 45 days you talk about in your rules forgotten, we get worried that who is it that we are making this? Is it for the sovereignty of Ugandans or to protect individuals who have three categories? They have three characteristics. Leaders in Africa have three characteristics. Number one, they fear people they lead. This law shows fear. Number two, they deceive or they lie people they lead. The intention of this law has a lot of lies. Lastly, they cheat people they lead. That's why they say they can confiscate money that has come to serve orphans just because it's more than 400 million at a go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Order. Order. Thank you so much, Imam Kasozi and your team. Just a small clarification. We are under no obligation to conclude this bill in 15 days. We are only doing our work. If we can conclude the stakeholder consultations in the few days left, and also do committee consideration of the views that you have given us, and then be able to report to the House, if it is possible, we will do that. If it is not possible, there is no hurry in Africa. This matter will be dealt with later. So we are only doing our work. The bill was read for the first time and referred to the committee, the two committees for consideration. So that's what we are doing. And we are not in a hurry. The 45 days is the maximum a bill should stay with the committee. Beyond 45 days, you seek the leave of the House to deal with the bill beyond 45 days. But a bill can be dealt with in just one day under our rules, or in a week. So, committee has 45 days. If you have not dealt with that bill, you go back to the House and seek leave to either go for another, maybe they can give you 30 days or 40 again, or 45. So, we are within the rules. We will do what we can. We are not going to hurry anyone. And if time catches us, the bill will be withdrawn and reintroduced during the 12th Parliament. Thank you so much, Imam Kasozi and your team. You can now take your leave.
Abalungi abatuuliriza era abatulaba olunaku olwaleero tuchaddeko ewa Sheikh Ashraf Dembe.
Sebo nsanyusa okubalaba. Amannya agange ye Sheikh Ashraf Dembe akola ku bizibu by'enjawulo. Omuntu singa aba alina ebirwadde tumusomereddwa, tumuwa amazzi ga lukuya nga bw'obadde ogalaba, tugenda abantu ku kyoto ne twokya emizimu emibi egibabaamu n'okulomba edduwa. Abantu singa abeera ng'ali wano atuuse sobola okumulombera edduwa, ne waba atatuuse nga mpadde amannya ge naye ng'ali wala. Neetaase enamba yange yeno eri 0707763711. Namwe bannyinaffe abali ebweru oyagala okuba nti oyagala okulombera ku dduwa ng'olina ebizibu, viza zibuze, amaka gakolongotana, sente zikola zimpita mu ngalo, ojja kumpeereza ekifaananyi kyo n'amannya go, ebyo byokka bijja kummala. Nja kukulombera edduwa, ojja kutereera. Olunaku olusembayo mu mwezi mba n'edduwa eyawamu ffenna n'abalwadde bange abakadde n'abapya. Salaamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.